it's only this thick, because it's hard to change. We got to go by it now. And we don't need people like her on the Supreme Court. Thank you.
I've been a courtroom lawyer. I can tell you that we shudder when somebody goes up to the bench who has not done their time down in the trenches in the courtroom. We really don't like that. And this is a worst case scenario. And I'll tell you why that is. It's really more of a practical reason than you would think. When you are in a courtroom, you really get a feel for how the law works and how it's applied and how juries deal with it, and you get that whole sense of that. When you start getting appellate judges, which is a lot of what they do and always what they do in the Supreme Court, you're a step removed. But when from what happens with real ordinary people deciding cases. But when you get to the Supreme Court with a person such as Ms. Kagan, who has never even been an appellate judge, she is so far removed from the reality of the law and the implications of that in every day in people's lives that it is frightening. But there are several other reasons. Oh gosh, I don't have enough time. I was terrifically bothered by the fact that she doesn't understand inalienable rights. When asked that question by Senator Hatch, she says, I've never given it any thought. Inalienable rights are those rights that God gave to us. The government can't touch them. And for a lawyer to not know that is troubling. She also did away with common law at Harvard. That's bad.
I certainly, as a member of that committee, would have voted no, obviously, for Elena Kagan. I'm deeply bothered that she does not believe that military recruiters should be allowed on our college campuses. And I got to tell you something, how demoralizing to have a commander-in-chief while two wars are going on, a commander who has sent men and women to the foreign field to die, to know that he just, has placed Elena Kagan, a woman who does not believe that military recruiters have any right to go on college campuses. That's got to say, man, that the commander-in-chief really believes in what you're all about. That disgusts me. That disgusts me. What a terrible example by our commander-in-chief. Secondly, I am deeply bothered that I think she does understand, but her not agreeing with natural rights. You see, I believe that we receive our natural rights the moment that our Creator creates us. That is at conception, by the way. Not at the moment of birth, but at conception. And it bothers me greatly that she kind of slighted that question and did not want to answer that, because she believes that we derive our rights from a government, not from the God who made us.
Since I'm not on the Senate Judiciary Committee, I would give you my personal opinion on this. I think Kagan is what we call an activist judge. I think she will twist the Constitution in her interpretations of the laws to fit a liberal agenda. That is my personal opinion. Like Steve said, anybody that kicks military recruiters off college campuses has lost all of my respect and would lose my vote if I was on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Thank you.
Okay, question number 7 to Barbara first. Do you support term limits?
Yes, I do. I have signed the document at U.S. term limits. I've also agreed that when elected, I would co-sponsor Senator DeMint's bill. Quite frankly, it's longer than I like, but it's better than what we have now, which is nothing. It's 3 terms in the House, which would be 6 years, 2 terms in the Senate, which would be a total of 18 years. I would also like to see it be time applied, meaning that if you had served 18 years in any one branch, you would be term limited out. That's not in his bill, but I would certainly like to add it to the one that I would co-sponsor.
As far as term limits are concerned, I think this is an emotional issue that America needs to decide. I think there needs to be an amendment pushed out to 50 states and let the American people decide. I will tell you this though. My gut tells me that as conservatives, we do not base our decisions on emotion. We, as conservatives, base our decisions in life on fact, on hard fact. I believe that we've got to make sure that men and women who are serving are in fact the very best men and women that we can send there. And when I want the very best brain surgeon doing surgery on me. I want the very best pilot flying the plane when I get on a Delta airline. I want to make sure that the men and women that are there are experienced and knowledgeable. I have a problem with rotating people in and out of Congress every 6 years. How in the world would you ever choose leadership when everybody was coming in and out every 6 years? Now, I have no desire to be a career politician. I've never been elected to office at all in my life. I've served for 3 governors and governor appointments, but I've never been elected official. But I do know this. The government we have today is the government that we, the people, have allowed ourselves to have. We, the people, have failed. The leaders have failed us, but they're not there if we don't vote them there.
I want to first let you know that I am not a career politician, and that if the constituents of District 2 want term limits, then I will vote for it. That being said, I do not think term limits work. I think we have some problems with it. Being from Tallahassee, I have seen state government in action, and you have to have people that know what they're doing. The problem is that the voters have to become more educated, or we have to put some campaign finance rules in effect to make everybody equal so that we can choose, so everybody has the right amount of advertisement or whatever when they're running. The problem is that special interests are going to nip at our heels no matter what. If you term somebody for 2 years, you're going to have special interest groups with candidates lined up for the next 12, and you won't even know who they are. This gets into being a states' rights issue. And James Madison and a lot of the other founders were talking about this, and they said, should we put in term limits? And they said, no, we have got to leave this in control of the voters. Even though we don't like Barney Frank or Nancy Pelosi, it's the people of Massachusetts and California that put them there. And we sure don't want them having any influence on the Florida citizen. Thank you.
I have a pretty clear, precise answer to that. I'd like to limit everyone up there to this November the 2nd. I tell you what, if you haven't voted to balance our budget, and you haven't voted to go by our Constitution and Bill of Rights, you need to be out there. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't care what you are. You need to get them out there. Now, you'll notice in my brochure there's a big picture of me and Ronald Reagan. He was my mentor, and I spent time with him, and nearly every cabinet member he had, at least twice. And I'm going to run this government like he did. If he didn't like how he was being done in Congress, he got on the television and he let them know what it was. All of you heard it, and all of you believed it because it's telling the truth. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to do everything in my power, one, to lead a coalition, all of you people that go up there, to change this country back to the core values that we have and to our Constitution and Bill of Rights. Everybody that will not do that, that will not vote to do what the Constitution calls for, and will not make this government live within its means, I'm going to help them get out themselves all over this nation. Thank you very much.
Okay, last question. This one goes to you first, Steve. If you do not win the primary, will you help the Republican winner to unseat Alan Boyd?
Without question. And we have made that statement as we have debated around this district. It might be my responsibility to make sure that one of my opponents stands on my shoulder. But we've got to go over the wall this year. We have got to go over the wall. And the reason we have to do that is because this election is not about me. My campaign has never been about me. It is about we. We. most importantly to me, it's about my 4 girls, Samantha, Stephanie, Allie, and Abby. I would take a bullet for any of them today. And it is incumbent upon their only dad to ensure that the freedoms outlined in that Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, will always be accessible to them all the days of their life. And so therefore, if I lose this primary, my opponents, whoever should prevail, will have my word that I will help them in any way to make sure that one of them go over the wall if it is not me.